friends, I welcome you in my channel. Today I am going to explain Alfred Lord Tennyson's poem The Lotus Eaters last two stanzas of the part first, and I have explained first three stanzas in my previous video. As you know, I am Sanju Hazria, Assistant Professor of English at Government College Ratangad, and you should pay heed towards whatever is explained in this session. This poem is included in the English literature syllabus of BA Part Second by Maharaja Ganga Singh University, Bikaner. So this is our fourth stanza. In fourth stanza, branches they bore of that enchanted stem, laden with flower and fruit, whereof they gave to each, but whoso did receive of them, and taste to him the gushing of the wave, far, far away did seem to moan and rave on alien shores, and if his fellow spake, his voice was thin as voices from the grave. And deep asleep he seemed, yet all awake, and music in his ears his beating heart did make. So this is our fourth stanza, and before explaining this stanza, I want to describe what the incident was taking place there. As I have explained in my previous video, the people of the island of Lotus Eaters came there, and now they were having the branches they bore. They were bearing the branches, they were having the branches of that enchanted stem, and the stem was very enchanted, means that plant was very enchanted, the plant was under the spell, it was the magical plant. So they were having the branches of that magical plant, and the magical plant was lotus, and it was laden with flower and fruit. It was full of flowers and fruits. This lotus plant was full of flowers and fruits, whereof they gave to each. And now the people of that island gave that plant to each mariner. Every mariner was given that plant, that enchanted plant, to eat by those people of that island. But whoso did receive of them, but whoever received that plant, whoever received that lotus plant and taste, and after that they taste the fruit of that plant, they tasted the lotus flower and fruit. To him the gushing of the wave far, far away did seem to moan and rave. And whoever ate that plant, whoever ate that fruit, to him the gushing of the wave, the flowing of the wave, the flowing of the water wave, far, far away did seem. It appeared that the wave was flowing far, far away, very distant from them, to moan and rave, and it was making the sound of mourning. It was making the sad sound, and it was flowing in a very excited manner, in a very excitement manner, on alien shores, on the foreign shores, on the foreign banks, on the foreign banks of the sea. And if his fellow spake, and if his fellow means the omniscient narrator's companion or the fellow mariner spoke, his voice was thin, his voice was very feeble, his voice was very thin as voices from the grave. And these voices were appearing as they were coming from the grave, means whenever any mariner spoke, it was appearing that his voice was very feeble, it was very weak, and it was coming from the grave. And deep asleep he seemed, and whenever any mariner spoke, it appeared that he was sleeping in a very sound manner, he was sleeping soundly, yet all awake. But it was not so. They were all awake, they were in an unconscious situation, they were not sleeping, but they were all awake. And music in his ears his beating heart did make, and the music which was approaching to their ears was made by their heartbeat, means their heartbeat was making the sound of the musical note, so their hearts were making such a sound which was appearing musical to them. So it was the situation of the mariners after eating that fruit, after eating that lotus fruit. So they were under the spell of that fruit. So it is the fourth stanza, and I think you understood it. And now we are heading towards our fifth stanza, and this is our fifth stanza. They sat them down upon the yellow sand, between the sun and moon upon the shore. And sweet it was to dream of fatherland, of child and wife and slave, but evermore most weary seemed the sea, weary the oar, weary the wandering fields of barren foam. Then someone said, "We will return no more." And all at once they sang, "Our island home is far beyond the wave, we will no longer roam." And now in fifth stanza, what is the decision of the mariners is given. Okay, so in fifth stanza they are saying, they sat them down upon the yellow sand. They are sitting. Where are they sitting? They are sitting on the yellow sand. The sand of that island is yellowish colored. So they are sitting down upon the yellow sand of that island. Between the sun and moon. They are sitting between the sun and moon. Okay. It is the time of the sunset. The sun is setting in the west and moon is rising in the east. So they are sitting between sun and moon. Upon the shore, they are sitting upon the bank of the sea, upon the sea shore. And sweet it was to dream of fatherland, and it was appearing very sweet to them when they were having the dream of their fatherlands. As they were approaching to their fatherland, as they were returning to their fatherland after the 10 years of Trojan War, so it was appearing very sweet to them when they were having the dreams of their fatherland. Of child, now they are remembering their children, their wives and slave. So it was very appearing very sweet to them when they were thinking about their children, about their wives and their slaves, and about their fatherland. But evermore most weary seemed the sea. But now the sea was appearing, the sea appeared to them very tiresome, very weary. Means now they don't want to sail anymore in that sea. Weary the oar, and rowing the boat was appearing to them very weary, very tiresome. And now they don't want to sail in that sea because it was appearing very tiresome to them. Weary the wandering fields, and it was also appearing very, very tiresome to quest in those fields of barren foam, to roam in that sea. The formed sea was very weary and very tiresome to them. So now they don't want to go in that sea again, and now they don't want any wars and any quest. Then someone said, then one of the mariners said, "We will return no more." Now it is the decision taken by the mariners that they will return no more. They will not go to their fatherland, they will not go anywhere. So they are not returning. And all at once they sang, and then they started singing in a chorus. They were singing in a group, "Our island home, our home in the island is far beyond. It is very far, far. The wave, it is very far from that wave. We will no longer roam. So we will no longer sail. We will not sail in that sea, and we will not return to our fatherland. And it is our decision that we, so that we don't return to our homeland, and it is very beyond from that island in which they were staying." So they are under the spell of that flower, and they have taken the decision that they will not return to their children and their homeland. And thus the last stanza ends, and